Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Warships with the mighty Jingles. And today is the first day of Tank Fest at the Tank Museum in Bovington. And what better way to celebrate the start of Tank Fest than with a World of Warships video in the Des Moines. Okay, there are probably many better ways to celebrate the first day of Tank Fest, but hell, I did World of Tanks yesterday, so today you're getting World of Warships. Don't worry, I have pre-uploaded a video for tomorrow to cover my absence, so you're not going to go without a video on Saturday, simply because it's Tank Fest. Although, there isn't going to be an episode of Mingles with Jingles on Monday, because it was Tank Fest. Anyway, on with today's video. This is Dastert, and he's in a spotter plane, Des Moines. Yes. A certain World of Warships community contributor who got lost in Moscow for a week during the Community Contributors Summit certainly has a lot to answer for. What is it with the Des Moines that aren't running radar? Oh well, we'll see how it works. I suppose on one level, if you're going to be running a spotter plane on anything, it should be an anti-aircraft monster like the Des Moines, because there's very little chance that your spotter plane is ever going to get shot down. Not when you've got this amount of anti-aircraft firepower backing it up. Speaking of anti-aircraft firepower, can you imagine how the enemy Tier 8 aircraft carrier player is feeling right now? Dastert's team have 3 Des Moines, a Hindenburg, and a Neptune. Well, at least he can always focus on making life interesting for the destroyers. And oh wait, one of them's a Grozavoy, which has access to the defensive fire consumable. Oh well, never mind. Maybe next time. Actually, all of the destroyers on Dastert's team technically have access to the defensive fire consumable. There are 2 Bensons as well, the Tier 8s. Although if you're going to equip the defensive fire consumable on a Benson, you have to have the C hull upgrade fitted. And most people skip that because it boosts your anti-aircraft firepower, but you lose a gun turret. So they probably don't actually have it. So technically, things could be worse for the enemy carrier. Not much, but they could be worse. First enemy target spotted, and it's a Tirpitz, German premium Tier 8 battleship, and he's right at the outer extreme limit of his firing range. But he is in range, so time to commence the high explosive spam. And if there's one thing that the Des Moines does better than just about any other ship in the game, it's delivering 203mm democracy and freedom parcels at a rate faster than just about anything else, with the exception of the Minotaur. But the Minotaur's guns are only 152mm. The Des Moines is a heavy cruiser, and it's armed with 203mm guns. And it has a base rate of fire of 5 seconds. Oh, and he set the Tirpitz on fire. Right, is the Tirpitz going to extinguish a single fire, or is he going to just let it burn? Well, we can't see him anymore, he's gone undetected. But the damage numbers are still ticking up. So the Tirpitz has not wasted his damage control. Dastert now pops his spotter aircraft. Now he's too far away for the spotter aircraft to be able to spot any of the targets that are exchanging fire with the rest of his team down there, but popping the spotter aircraft does one thing. Well, it does a couple of things. First, it increases the range of your guns, since all of those ships down at the southern end of the map were at the extreme limit of his 203mm guns. Range now, they're all in range. Also, it gives you this elevated view of the targets that you're shooting at, which makes it much easier to accurately estimate where you need to be aiming in order to hit ships that you can't actually see and only know they're there by the gunfire. And he was actually able to score 16 hits on that Des Moines while he was invisible, thanks to using the spotter plane. Now of course he actually has visual contact on a whole bunch of enemy ships, so this is going to become even more dangerous. Of course they can see him as well, or they could momentarily. There's some fire coming in from the Des Moines. He's bow on, so he's only got 6 guns able to shoot. And now he's, once again, undetected. That Tirpitz is burning nicely. The Des Moines is burning very nicely. He's up to 33,000 damage done. That Des Moines is in serious trouble. He's managed to go undetected, but the spotter plane is up. And the other thing about the spotter plane is it lasts a lot longer than radar, and allows you to spot ships at a much greater range. Both teams are now down 1 ship. They've each lost a cruiser. points are more or less equal. Although Dastart's team does have 2 of the caps, but the enemy team are working on capturing their second. Although it is being contested. Now, while Dastert is busy setting fire to and attempting to burn down this Yamato, I'm just going to wind the clock back and focus on the minimap because something very, very unusual happened. And it was the enemy carrier. He sent a massive blob of aircraft over to attack a group of ships that included a Des Moines, a Hindenburg and a Grozvoy. Surprisingly, he didn't actually get all of them shot down. At least part of one torpedo bomber squadron managed to escape unscathed. Not entirely sure why he did that, although he did at least force the Grozvoy to bug out to avoid getting shot at by the Minotaur and the Charles Martel. And possibly in part because of his sacrifice, his team do go on to capture Point Alpha, so maybe it wasn't a complete waste of aircraft. Meanwhile, back to Dastert and the Yamato. He's now up to 66,000 damage done, and the fires are still burning on that Yamato. Just the one so far, but with this volume of high explosive firepower, it's only a matter of time before he sets another one. The enemy team are now in solid control of 2 of the capture points, and Dastart's team only have 1. Well, technically they have 2, but Delta is contested, and so the team aren't actually gaining any points from it. Dastert is completely undetected here. He's got some good solid island cover between himself and his target. The first fire on the Yamato burns out naturally, so of course the very next salvo sets a second fire. And I think the Yamato has had just about enough of that, and he's starting to peel back. In case you're wondering what was going on with the camera there, Dastert was just tapping the M key in order to transition into the overhead map view. It elevates the camera slightly as it transitions into the map, which might, if you're quick enough, give you a sort of top-down view to allow you to estimate more accurately what an enemy ship is doing if you can't see it behind an island. It doesn't work nearly as well as it used to back in the closed beta, when it was considered something of a, well, an exploit really, which is exactly the reason why Wargaming have changed the functionality of that particular key command. Now the transition is very, very quick, and so you can't really use it the way you used to be able to in order to gain that kind of advantage, which is a good thing. Right. He's broken 100,000 damage, and it looks like the Yamato has put the fire out. Yes, he does not have an awful lot of health left, and this is a lot of very angry enemy ships chasing him down to the south. He's kind of run out of friends, so his decision to fall back was probably a very, very good one. The enemy team have actually just lost a destroyer, who was attempting to capture Delta, so that's a very valuable kill for Dastart's team. Not only has it put them ahead on points, but also it's stopped capture point Delta from being flipped. Both teams are now in solid possession of 2 capture points each. Okay, targets up, a Des Moines and a Tirpitz. The Tirpitz is burning, the Des Moines is hugging an island. Tirpitz has momentarily gone undetected, but he can still see the Des Moines. Now, this is just about an ideal situation, because Dastert is able to lob his shots over the island and hit the enemy Des Moines on the far side, but the enemy Des Moines is too close to the island, and he cannot do the same. There's a fire on the Des Moines. The Tirpitz is back up again. Tirpitz is on lower health, and since the enemy Des Moines can't actually shoot him, he spares a salvo or 2 for the Tirpitz and gets some more shots in on the Des Moines before he goes undetected. Now it's back to the Tirpitz. Looks like he set the Des Moines on fire again. But now the enemy Des Moines has moved clear enough of the island that he's able to start doing the same thing to Dastert. The Tirpitz doesn't appear to be paying Dastert any attention, and he has managed to put his fires out. So Dastert switches his fire back to the Tirpitz, trying to get another fire set, since the Tirpitz is on kind of low health. And Dastert is also burning, but he's not extinguishing the fire. It's just the one fire, and he does have his damage repair ability available. That Tirpitz is now looking like a one-shot kill, so he spares another salvo for him, and then switches his fire straight back to the enemy Des Moines, who is definitely the bigger threat. And he's managed to sink the Tirpitz. There's his first kill, 133,000 damage. The Des Moines is now caught in a bit of a crossfire, although he's mostly safe from the ship that's trying to lob shells over the island coming in from the right hand side of the screen there. But there's also some shots coming in from the left, so he's in a very, very bad position. Once again, he's backed away behind the island, which means he can't fire at Dastert. But Dastert is still able to lob shells over the island and hit him. So he's almost certainly dead, and yep, there's Dastert's second kill. Next, an enemy Republique, a French tier 10 cruiser who appears to be sporting the space camo skin, and he is posing a serious threat to the integrity of capture point Bravo. And we can't have that, so he's now been set on fire too. And this guy is also smart enough to know not to burn his damage control on a single fire, so those damage numbers are going to continue to tick as well. Meanwhile, the friendly tier 8 carrier has vectored his aircraft over in the direction of the Republique. But all of these high explosive shots are also knocking out his anti-aircraft guns. It is still going to be a bit of a sacrifice, but it's not entirely in vain, because he's managed to reveal the position of a hitherto unspotted enemy Yuro, whose AA guns are blazing away, and he's also detected the Musashi that we knew from the minimap was also heading in this direction. So, Dastert pops his spotter plane once again, and with the fires continuing to burn on the Republique, he now switches his fire to the Musashi, the premium tier 9 Japanese battleship. Just the one high explosive salvo, however. The Musashi is notoriously easy to set on fire, and if you can get some damage numbers ticking on him as well, all the better. He doesn't actually set a fire on the Musashi, but is switching his fire back to the Republique because this guy is the biggest immediate threat. And he is in a lot of trouble. He's taken so much high explosive damage that have knocked out so many of his anti-aircraft guns that even tier 8 torpedo bombers are going to be in a position to launch a successful strike against him. Switching fire back to the Musashi again. I think the island just up ahead is occluding his shots at the moment at the Republique. Once again attempting to get some fire set on the Musashi. Going for the Yuro while he's visible. Be nice to get a kill if he can. And now he's cleared the island. Back to the Republique, who's struggling to avoid tier 8 airdropped torpedoes. Well, actually, they're not even tier 8. The friendly carrier is an Enterprise, and it does have a lot of aircraft, but the aircraft are actually a lower tier than the ship itself. So that lets you know exactly how many of that Republique's AA guns have been knocked out. And he's on fire again, and he's blown his damage control already, so he is now dead. That is going to be the Witherer Award, and Dastert's third kill. And now he's free to switch his fire to the Musashi, who isn't even targeting him. So this is going to be fun. And there's the first fire, the first of many. The Musashi is not using his damage control, so we know that he's already a cut above the average battleship. There's the high caliber award, and here comes fire number 2. Now would be a good time to use the damage control, right? Well, not really. I mean, normally if you've got 2 fires burning in a battleship, you probably want to use your damage control, especially if you have that amount of health. But if you're still coming under fire from high explosive shells, you're just going to get set on fire again. So this guy's kind of damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. Although Dastert is now switching to the armor-piercing shells, since the Musashi is pretty much given him broadside. And one of the Musashi's fires has burned out, and he is starting to return fire. Dastert is finally being targeted, and he does take a fairly respectable hit, although it wasn't a Citadel. The Musashi is now turning it towards him, so he switches back to the high explosive again. And at this point, you really probably want to kill that guy as quickly as possible, because if he gets to fire again, he could do a lot of damage, and he has got to fire again with the 2 forward turrets. Takes it on the chin, does not get citadeled, swings the arse out again to get all 3 of the turrets firing, and this Musashi is almost certainly doomed, because he's got a further fire burning. He's also coming under air attack. His AA guns were shit in the first place, and he probably doesn't have a huge amount of them left. And he's dead. Right. Charles Martel. He's not in torpedo range of Dastert, but he is in torpedo range of that smokescreen hiding the friendly Grozavoy, so he pops his hydro, and yep, there are the torpedoes. Right. Cleared the barrels of the high explosive, switching to armor piercing for this tier 8 French cruiser. This is probably not going to go very well for the tier 8 French cruiser. Probably not going to go very well at all. Let's see if we can count all the citadels, and there's the Confederate award. Could this be kill number? Yeah, of course it was. That was never really in any doubt, was it? Okay, 270,000 damage done. And he is spotted. We know there's a Yuro lurking down there to the south. You can see a smoke screen behind the island, but there are some shots coming in. And they look like they're armor piercing. And there's a lot more than you'd expect to be getting fired from a Yuro. That must be the enemy Minotaur. So that could very well be the Minotaur's smoke screen. Now, you really don't want to be caught in open water getting shot at by a Minotaur that you can't see. That is usually incredibly bad news. How long does he have to wait before he can use his spotter plane? Not long. Okay, his rear turret is back up. He hasn't had to use his damage control yet, and he's recovering some health. He's still coming under fire from the Yuro. He is... sorry, not the Yuro. The Minotaur. He is still detected, but he's going to be able to pop his spotter plane very, very soon. And you'll see the difference straight away. I mean, at the moment he's trying to lob shells in the direction of where you can see the Minotaur's shots coming from, but he's not actually landing any on target. It is still perfectly possible, of course, to hit a target hidden from line of sight. Oh, hang on a second. Just as his hydroacoustic search expired, he managed to spot the Yuro torpedoes on the starboard side. Yeah, just in time. He's going to be able to avoid those. The Minotaur, however, keeps popping in and out of detection. Now, why is he doing that? Dastert launches his spotter plane. He's managing to score hits on him, despite the fact that he can't see him. And there he is, and he's moving at full speed. Now, why would you be doing that? It's probably because his smoke screen's about to expire and he does not want to be caught in open water with the Des Moines shooting at him. But he's just lost a huge amount of health. And he does the right thing here. He diverts course to try to get that island between himself and Dastert, but he doesn't realise he's actually sailing straight towards a Benson. And he may not have the time that he needs to actually be able to get away. He makes the turn to starboard to tuck in behind the island, but I think it's at this moment when he spots the Benson, panics, there are the Minotaur torpedoes, and runs himself aground. There are Benson torpedoes incoming, but that's not what's going to kill him. Dastert doesn't even look, because cool ships don't look at explosions. There's the Kraken Unleashed, 311,000 damage done. There's the enemy carrier, but that's also the enemy Yuro. And, well, he definitely looks like he's worth a shot for potential kill number 6. Shots out. He's so confident he doesn't even look, because cool ships don't look at explosions. There's kill number 6. Shots out at the enemy aircraft carrier. Armor-piercing broadsides. Very, very short reload. Let's face it, the Des Moines reload is pretty impressive anyway, and when you're running the Adrenaline Rush skill, and you've got less than 50% health, you're down to about a 4-second reload. Carrier has been sunk, that just leaves one enemy ship. But it's the Yamato. That's right, bitches, I'm back. And he is targeting Dastert, so that's not good news. And here they come. And it looks like the Shikaki was able to get his torpedo bombers away, what few he had remaining before he was sunk. But this shouldn't be a huge issue. The Yamato in front of him probably is going to be a huge issue. Now you've got two choices here. You can time the Yamato's reload to turn away and make yourself scarce and stop shooting. Or, well, it's 5 against 1. The Yamato's probably going to die, it's just a question of who's going to get to farm the most damage on him before his inevitable sinking. Ah, screw it. Chicks dig scars and glory lasts forever. Dastert's going to go for it. He's timed his turn away for when the Yamato only has the rear turret to fire. And he takes negligible damage. Now the Yamato's shown him quite a large broadside, so he switched to his armor piercing. But it's the forward turrets. Yeah. And he'd gotten away with it too, if it wasn't for that pesky Yamato. But he has done 356,000 damage. And the Yamato, believe it or not, is actually going to survive. Just. But with all 4 of the caps under the control of Dastert's team, there's no way he's going to win. So that's 356,000 damage, 6 kills, Witherer, High Caliber, Confederate, and the Kraken Unleashed award for Dastert in the American Tier 10 cruiser, the Des Moines. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're all enjoying the new patch in World of Warships that came out yesterday. And for those of you who are going to TankFest, well, I know you're going to enjoy that, and I hope to see as many of you as possible there. That's it for today. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.